What's good with your boys? Today I got a video by Nick, and apparently Elden Ring ruined gaming for him. I think it ruined gaming for me as well because I'm gonna be honest. Let me just watch the video. I'm gonna just watch the video.
Ruined gaming for me. And even though I smashed 2 controllers while playing the game, every other game I play now simply sucks. See, there was a time when I was a happy gamer. A time when I could look at a map with hundreds of icons and dive in to complete them all.
Nah, look, I'm gonna be honest. Whatever game got all that going on, I usually just go ahead and do the story and then I hop off. I'm not gonna lie, Ghost of Yote is getting to that point for me, but I'm not gonna yap.
It was the gaming equivalent of eating unseasoned boiled chicken every day for years and thinking that this is the best food ever. And then I played Elden Ring. It didn't just challenge me. It didn't just open my eyes. It took my simple love for video games, dragged it into the back alley, and beat it to death with a large club. And now it looks like I can't even play a normal video game anymore. For real, I recently tried to play Assassin's Creed Shadows. After 4 hours, I caught myself staring at the screen with dead eyes.
Because why are you playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, bro? Like, you need to find something else to play. I can't agree with you right there, but let's continue.
And I just turn it off. Now, let me explain how this happened, because if you had asked me like 5 years ago, I would have told you I hate Souls games. In fact, the first time I played a Souls game, I didn't even make it past the third boss. Now, before you go and judge me, I'm not a born Souls player.
Okay.
I don't have some hidden skills like godlike reflexes, the ability to recognize patterns in attacks right away, or the endurance to die to a boss 200 times before quitting. In fact, most of my gaming career, I actively avoid these games. And to understand that, let's rewind a bit. The year is 2015. At
2015, a good year. A lot of things happened that year. If you wasn't born yet, that sucks for you, buddy.
that time, I was listening to a lot of Lovecraft audiobooks, and I really liked the style. About the same time, Bloodborne released, and the internet was screaming. Every review, every YouTuber, every forum post was saying the same thing. This is a masterpiece. This is the game of the year, and if you don't play this, you are the real gamer. So I've watched the trailer. I saw.
Well, can I get a pass? Because I didn't even know this game existed in 2015. I played 2K15 all year, and then I played 2K16 all year. But please, can I get a pass, man? Let me just get a pass.
The Gothic architecture, the trench coats, the transforming saw cleavers. And I was hooked. I looked at the reviews, and sure, people mentioned it was hard. But I brushed it off. I mean, come on, how hard could it be? I mean, just a year earlier, I had beaten Wolfenstein on the hardest difficulty setting. So, cocky as I was, I thought the other players were just bad and had a skill issue. And oh boy, I was so wrong. So I bought the game, I installed it, I created a character that looked somewhat human, which is like a massive achievement in a From Software game, and I started playing it. The first few hours were extremely confusing. See, as I mentioned in the intro, I was a normal gamer. I played the standard games and enjoyed them. I played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Revelations, and
that's base. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, probably one of the best PS3 games. Pretty goated, I'm not gonna lie.
the third part to like 100%, which in retrospective seems like a huge waste of time, but we are going to talk about that in just a second. But long story short, I was used to having a minimap, quest markers, and overall, like clear objectives. However, when I first started playing Bloodborne, I was completely lost. The game doesn't give you a map, it doesn't tell you where to go, and the story isn't spoon-fed to you. So when I started playing the game, I died a lot. Like, really a lot. And at that time, I didn't know it, but From Software likes to basically put an unbeatable boss in front of you where they want you to die. Now, I spent about like 2 hours trying to finally get by the villagers around the fire in central Yarmum. But I pushed through the problem by simply panic rolling at luck. And then I met the cleric beast. which killed me over and over and over again.
The
I don't know
Cleric
how many attempts
Beast.
it took.
I've never played this game. I tried to play it, but the frame rate is so bad, I can't do it. And I know I sound like an ass, but I'm just being honest. Like I can't do it.
But at the end, I managed to beat it somehow. Now, fast forward another 15 hours and countless deaths, I managed to make it past Father Gascoigne. And in all honesty, I was completely confused. And even more importantly, I was pissed. The only reason I didn't stop playing it was because I just spent $50 on the game. Now, keep in mind,
Gotta love those
that
price
at that
points.
point, I still had no clue about anything in the stories, the characters, and if I was doing anything right. Because, well, there were no quest markers, no minimap, and so on. As you can probably tell, at that point, I didn't really like the way of playing a video game like this. Now, funnily enough, the zero hand-holding and letting the player find everything out themselves is what today I enjoy most about From Software games, especially Elden Ring. Anyway, I then walked into a church in Old Yarnum and met the blood-starved beast. Now, for those of you who didn't play the game, let me
What is that?
explain. Imagine a skinless greyhound that has been doing meth for the past 3 days and looks like it comes straight out of Stranger Things. It screams like a fax machine being thrown into a wood chipper. It moves faster than you can react, and just for fun, it poisons you if you stand in the same zip code as this thing. Imagine, at that moment, I was just getting a little bit of confidence in my ability to play the game. So I walked in, and 10 seconds later, I died. Attempt 2? I made it about 30 seconds, but just because I wasn't even trying to attack it and just ran away. On attempt 3, I ran out of antidotes and heal potions, so I died through the poison. So I found for potions and searched for antidotes so I could do a few more attempts. After about 20 attempts, I was no longer having fun. I was swearing and screaming at my TV. For me, this wasn't the
can't do
fun
that,
challenge
buddy.
everyone talked about. It felt like a straight up bullying. It felt like I was trying to solve a math exam while someone constantly slapped me in the face with a wet towel. So I did what every good gamer would do. I started coping. I convinced myself that the problem wasn't me. It was the game. It was bad design.
Always
So
the
I
game,
did
man.
the only logical thing. I rage quit. But I didn't just turn the console off. I uninstalled the game, I took the disc out, put it in the case, and shoved it to the very back of my shelf.
Oh my
I told
goodness.
myself I was never playing a Souls-like ever again. I was done with getting good, and I wanted to go back to a world where I was the hero. I wanted a world where if I got stuck, a giant floating arrow would appear on the screen and say, "Oh, here, stupid." So right after putting Bloodborne down, I have to admit, I was somehow broken. I didn't want environmental storytelling where I have to read the item description of like a dirty pair of pants to understand what's going on. I wanted safety, comfort, and a game where I can control the difficulty through a slider. Now around that time, the industry was going through a bit of something you would call a transformation. See, around 2017, 18, and the following years, something shifted. The industry realized that writing good stories and designing unique maps was hard work and expensive.
Yeah.
So they collectively decided to say screw it and make everything a checklist and a collective fun. This was the era.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I did not like this era, bro. This era was pretty trash. I mean, every game was just a bunch of dots on the map, and then like you do them, and it's like 500 hours. The game is 500 hours, and then you lose track of the story, and yeah, it wasn't pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie.
That I like to call the ubification. Or at least that's what I read on the subreddit, and I thought it was quite fitting. It felt that from that point on, every game needed to be an RPG. Every game needed to be a skill tree. Every game needed a crafting system where you have to.
And it was so crazy back then because I didn't even know what was going on, but I noticed that Assassin's Creed had turned into like a RPG, and like when you would slice somebody, numbers would pop up on the side of their face, like an indicator saying how much damage you would do, and like That's not Assassin's Creed. The whole time I was always saying that. It was Assassin's Creed Origins. I walked to the store about 3 miles to get that game, and I was highly disappointed. But yeah, man, the UB I can't even talk. Let's go ahead.
In 5 badgers to make a wallet. And I thought I was the perfect customer. And again, I was pretty wrong. I went back to the game franchise that I loved, Assassin's Creed. I still remember how I bought the double disc edition of Origins and Odyssey. Since the whole Greek mythology thing seemed more interesting to me, I started with Odyssey. And immediately, something felt very wrong. We went from Ezio Auditore, who is one of the gaming's greatest characters of all time, to whatever those two folks in Odyssey were. I mean, the protagonist wasn't a hero. He was basically a frat boy with bad jokes on a gap year in Greece. I lost count on how many times I heard that guy screaming, "Hey, Malaka!" And to my shame, I played it anyway. I sat through the entire gameplay loop of cleaning a bandit camp, climbing up the highest tower, and synchronizing the whole thing. And while I did that, it didn't feel quite as fulfilling as in the old days. So, when Assassin's Creed Valhalla released, I was hyped once again, only to be let down once more.
Yeah, that game was trash too.
It looks like someone sneezed icons all over the screen. And because I didn't think through it...
And exactly, I heard that Valhalla was like... I don't even want to speak about it, bro.
Myself. I remember climbing the 20th tower and sitting there with the controller in my hand, thinking to myself, is this it? Am I getting too old for video games? At this point, I really thought that my passion, which I enjoyed over 20 years at that point for gaming, was dying. I thought maybe I should take up a new adult hobby, like gardening or woodworking. So I put the controller down for quite a long time.
Wow.
I barely played anything, and even if I picked up a game, I couldn't motivate myself to sit through the entire game. I drifted away from it, convinced that I was the problem. Over the next years, I watched the gaming industry from the sidelines. And I probably don't have to go into detail because you might have experienced it yourself, but games turned from creative work into a corporate cookie cutter template. I mean, I could go into ChatGPT right now and have it create the next Assassin's Creed. And the sad thing is,
this guy was really in love with Assassin's Creed, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, Nick. You gotta put the Assassin's Creed down. It's not it. But let me continue your video.
Let me continue. Would probably create it. It wasn't until years later that something actually managed to catch my attention. And that something was Elden Ring. Now, when the first trailer dropped, I liked the style. It looked high fantasy. It looked epic. But I hesitated massively. See, nowadays, every time I look at the pre-order button of a game, I get Vietnam-like
What is this clip? What is going on?
A mix of the blood-starved beast from Bloodborne, the collectibles from Assassin's Creed, and the half-assed launch of Fallout 76. But what I remember the most is the $50 I lit on fire back in 2015 with Bloodborne. And this time...
Dang, bro's really holding on to those $50, bro. You should have made $50 times 20 by the time Elden Ring came out. It was a whole 5 years later.
They were asking for 60. And
6 years,
like
5 years.
Significant investment for a game where I didn't know if I might see the "you died" screen more times than actually playing the game. So I waited. I sat back and watched the hype train leave the station without me. Good lord, it was a big hype train. YouTubers were playing the game left and right. My timeline was flooded with clips of people
I missed the
getting
hype
stabbed
train
on
too,
by
bro.
giants, people getting grabbed by hands with 20 fingers, and people fighting a woman that broke the internet for being the hardest boss ever created. It felt like the entire world was
I
playing
mean,
the
she's
game.
pretty easy. I'm
And the
not gonna
weirdest
lie.
part? The marketing wasn't normal. See, Ubisoft usually spends millions of dollars on CGI trailers with imagined dragons playing in the background. But From Software, on the other hand, they just released the game. They didn't beg you to buy it. They just put it on the table and said, good luck. Now, I'm not sure if FromSoft was confident that this game would be such a monumental success, because up until this point, the entire Souls genre has rather been niche, or at least I thought. But this time, they really managed to hit the mainstream. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But when the game released in February 2022, the reviews were perfect. The players were happy. And most importantly, it wasn't a buggy mess.
Yo, the glaze, I'm not gonna lie, this is not glaze. This is all facts. If you never played Elden Ring, bro, go play Elden Ring. Like, I don't want to hear no nerd stuff. I don't want to hear none of that. Just go play the game, bro. Go play the game. Come back here and say, yeah, tell me what you found, bro. You might
Which
find
is
your
something
first
remarkable
love.
these days. And yet, here I was waiting. I held out all the way until November. 9 months of watching all kinds of clips. 9 months of watching from the sidelines until I finally gave in. I bought the game, I booted it up, created a character who once again looked like Nicolas Cage, and started playing the game. This time, I decided to give the game an honest try. I was prepared to suck, to not find anything, and most importantly, I was prepared to die. A lot. Now, after I made it through the first final boss that is supposed to kill you, I got thrown into a limgrave. And by making it through the first boss, I mean I got killed in seconds. Now, after watching countless of videos, I knew that the map was gigantic. And I knew that there were countless things to do. So I hoped for a bit more hand-holding in this game. However, there was none of that. The only hand-holding you got in the beginning was a guy leaned against the rock calling you the Tarnished, and a bit to the right,
Good
there
old
was a guy on the
Varian.
golden horse who immediately beat me to death with his halberd, which later on I skipped. I fought my way up the path and I felt okay. At least the combat was clicking a bit. So I thought this time I might be able to make a bit of progress in the game. And then I walked into the boss room of Margit. Now, Margit is a so-called filter boss. And just like the name says, he is designed to filter people like me. Why do they do this? I have
Filter boss? A filter boss? I'm glad I didn't get filtered.
no clue. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but from my perspective, doesn't that make most people just quit the game? Anyway, I started fighting Margit. He holds his stick up in the air for 3 business days, waits for you to panic roll, and then smacks you over and over again. I lost count on how many times I died to him. And at first, I once more thought, fuck, this is Bloodborne all over again. But then, something weird happened. I opened the map and realized I don't have to be here. There was a whole area to the south, a forest to the east, and so much more to explore. I don't have to fight Margit just yet. I could just leave and come back later. And this is exactly what I did. I turned around, got on my horse, and rode in the exact
Dude left Market to go fight Black Blade.
opposite direction. And that's when I clicked. The game doesn't make you follow a checklist. I wasn't clearing icons and going somewhere because the game told me to do so. I was exploring because I was terrified of the boss and I needed to find a weapon that wasn't a rusty spoon. So I went south, I killed a caravan of giants, got killed by a slave miner that turned into a deer, and found a chest that teleported me into a hell dimension filled with crystal miners. For the first time in the years, I wasn't just playing a game. I was on a real adventure. I spent hours just running around, leveling up, finding cool gear, and by the time I remembered I should go back to Margit, the game changed something in me. See, my definition of open world fundamentally changed. Usually open world means that you can explore the map as much as the game allows you to.
Right.
It gives you a clear checklist on what to do and a bunch of arrows to point you there. However, if you go too far, the game places like an invisible wall, so you can't go any further. But in the case of Elden Ring, you are free to go wherever you want and play the game how you want. With the big difference, you will feel when you shouldn't be in an area because you're too weak. And that felt very liberating, but we are going to talk about that way more in detail in just a second. Now, when I went back to Margit, I felt ready. I had better equipment, was a higher level, and
I ain't gonna lie, this is a pretty good video, man. It's pretty long, but it's pretty good, man.
most importantly, I had confidence. I don't know where it came from, but
Oh, Riker.
I had confidence.
Wait,
I had confidence.
what's going on right here? Is that a mod?
I don't know where it came from, but I had confidence. So I walked in there, dodged the stick, panicked a little bit, But eventually, after a few tries, I beat him. I sat back in my chair and exhaled. It felt really good.
Yeah.
Like, as good as I haven't felt in years of playing a video game. But I didn't know that this was just the beginning of a huge journey. And most importantly, I didn't know that Margit was just the appetizer. So I stepped into Stormveil Castle when the doors were open, and I was immediately lost. See, coming from Assassin's Creed, I was used to castles being flat squares, with a few guardians patrolling in a circle. However, Stormveil Castle is definitely not a square. It's a giant maze, designed by a madman. There are holes in the walls, ladders you have to jump to, secret basements with skilless
Yeah,
monsters.
wait till you go to the volcano. What's it called, guys? The volcano room. Go to the volcano castle. It's no.
Overall, it was vertical, it was confusing, and it was brilliant. I literally spent hours just trying to figure out where I should go. And when I finally did, I met the Lord of the Castle, Godric the Grafted. Now, Godric is a fantastic character. He's a weird little old man who decided the best way to gain power was to chop off limbs of other people and glue them to his own body. He looks like a ball of lint
Bro
you'd
knows the
find under a
lore.
dryer.
I didn't even know
If
that.
that lint had too many arms. The fight started and I died. Obviously. Second attempt, I died again. I probably died to any attack he could throw at me. The whirlwind, like 10 of his arms, and the moment where he attaches a dragon head to himself. However, this time, something felt different. I wasn't angry and ran into the boss over and over again. This time, I was learning. When he screams, I knew I had to run away. When he uses his fire, I roll through it. On about attempt 15, my heart was pounding. I had no healing flasks left. Godric has only one hit left, and so did I. I dodged his attack, hit him, and then the screen freezes. The death animation plays and says, "Legend failed." I threw my controller on the couch, stood up, and I felt a rush of adrenaline that I hadn't felt in a video game since like I was probably 12 years old. And at that moment, I realized something. If this game was like Horizon Zero Dawn or Assassin's Creed, I wouldn't have felt anything. In those games, beating a boss is like a standard. You press the buttons, the health bar goes down, and you get a cutscene. It's inevitable. The game simply wants you to win. But at Elden Ring, the game doesn't care if you win. In fact, I believe the game just wants you to lose. So when you finally do win, it's not because the developer gave you a participation trophy, it's because you've earned it. And the feeling of felling a legend, you simply don't get in any other game. And ever since then, Elden Ring ruined every other game for me.
Well, I'm gonna stop the video right there. I'm gonna tell y'all, this is kind of the truth, but I think that he should play different games. But to be honest, no game can top Elden Ring. I've been saying this for the longest, and people think I'm like ultra glazing, but I'm not, bro. I'm not glazing. Go play the game. Go play the game. I'm gonna put the video down in the comment section, the description. Y'all finish the video. The video is like 30 minutes long, but shout out Nick, man. This is a great video, Nick. Elden Ring is the truth. If y'all don't know, now you know. It's nothing like it. This is a super long video. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to watch it. I'll see y'all later. Peace.